up? It's your boy Bess and your boy Jerricks, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 3, episode 28. On today's episode, we'll be doing our no huddle segment. We'll talk about the cheetah wanting to be loose, and then we'll talk about 3 coaches that got fired over the past couple of days. And following that, I'm going to do my playoff tiers. I did my tiers, preseason tiers. Now I did after 6 weeks, after 12 weeks, and now after 18 weeks, I'm gonna give y'all my playoff tiers. And then to end this episode, Jerricks is gonna give his picks for this upcoming wildcard weekend. I'll be doing my picks with Tyrell on Friday, all right? But without any further ado, let's go ahead, let's get straight to the point. But as always, I want to thank God for waking us up this morning and allowing us to talk about sports. It was something that we love to do. Without him, we would not be here right now. Jerry, you ready to go?
Let's get it.
All right, let's get straight into it. All right, our no huddle segment, as we always do. We stopped doing it for a minute, but we normally do this. We talk about it's gonna be 2 topics today. Quick little topics and give our takes on these things. All right. The first thing up is Tyreek Hill wanting to be out. The cheetah wants to be loose. All right. His quote says, "I just gotta do what's best for me and my family, whether that's here or wherever the case may be. I'm finna open that door for myself. I'm out, bro. It was great playing here, but at the end of the day, I gotta do what's best for my career. I'm too much of a competitor to just be out there, basically. All right, this is after the Dolphins got eliminated from playoff contention. Jared, what's your reaction to it?
Um, if we're being honest, I don't know what to like. I know what to say, but I don't know what my reaction is because I want to say like I don't feel bad for the man or something along those lines because mind you, you left the Super Bowl winning team to go to the Dolphins. Like when you left, you were so confident and so hyped and talking so good about Tua when you got there and comparing him to Mahomes and saying how he can do this on the level of Mahomes. Like, no. Like I feel like you should know what you were walking into, and the fact that you had the audacity to leave where you were. You know they say the grass ain't always green on the other side.
Boom.
The grass over there is dead. Okay, you went over there to a team that has Tua at quarterback. Tua can't stay healthy. Uh, the team's not good. You're in the division where you have to go against the Bills, so you're not gonna win your division. You're in the AFC still, so it's crowded. Like you did all of this, I feel like it was for no reason. Like I don't. For me personally, unless it's like such a significant difference, I don't see the point in leaving a Super Bowl winning team to go somewhere for a little bit more money. Like I understand, yeah, you want to separate family and all that, but we're talking like it's not so significant to where it's like, oh yeah, it's a no brainer. Not at all. I think when they were talking about his situation and he explained like why he made the move, I think it was the Chiefs' number wasn't that far off. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think I remember him saying something like the talks with the Chiefs were really good, but he thought that it was in his best interest for him and his family once again to go down to Miami. So I hope Miami doesn't trade him, and I hope that he stays there and has to play out his contract because you were the. mm, Let me be nice. It's 2025. Let me be nice. You made the decision that landed you there, so now you gotta live with it. So I say Dolphins, don't trade him, and if you trade him to the Las Vegas Raiders because it's getting ridiculous at this point. Do you want more money or do you want to win football games? Which one is it? I feel like at first you were saying you wanted more money over winning football games, and now you're mad that you're not winning football games. So what is it? Make up your mind, man. Make up your mind.
Yep, I agree with everything you said. The Chiefs clearly won this trade because if you realize, since the Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill, they won 2 Super Bowls. Since Tyreek Hill been to the Miami Dolphins, they went to the playoffs once. But I just don't see the delusion he had when he went to Miami to play with Tua. To me, Tua's not that good of a quarterback. I'm just gonna keep it a bug with you. I think they overpaid him. And not only is he not a great quarterback, but his health also limits him. Right? You can't go out there all willy-nilly because you get hit the right way, you're done for good. So that kind of limits him even more. So Tyreek kind of walked into this situation. Now I don't think Tua's concussions happened before Tyreek got there. I want to say it was while Tyreek was there. So that's not really on him, right? But I don't think Tua was that good, and I think that is that good, and I think that he hyped him up when he got there, kind of trying to make Mahomes a little jealous, like, oh, I got Tua over here, we good. He tried to, but it hasn't worked out. Like I said, the Chiefs won 2 Super Bowls. You have done nothing since you've been in Miami, and hey, let's see where he goes. He wants to go win games, so maybe he'll take less now. Right? Maybe he learned his lesson. I think he learned his lesson. We can both say he learned his lesson, right? He thought the grass was greener, like you said, and clearly it was not. All right, so we'll see where he goes, but the cheetah wants out. All right, next, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. We've been talking about this over the past couple of days. All right, these are three coaches in the NFL got fired over the past couple of days. All right, first up, Gerard Mayo got fired from the Patriots after one season. He went 4-13. A lot of people say it's because he lost the number one overall pick, right? But that I don't care about that. All right, next we got Antonio Pierce, who was fired from the Raiders. All right, went 4-13 this past year. Since he took over as interim last year, he been 9-17 over. So for the past 2 years, 9-17 overall is his record. And then in Jacksonville, Doug Peterson gets fired. Went 4-13 this year, and he went 22-29 over the past 3 years in Jacksonville. Jared, your reaction to these three coaches being fired?
I don't see why any of these three coaches got fired. If I'm being honest, I'll start off with Doug. Doug's a good coach, and we've seen it before. We've seen what he did with the Eagles. He's a nice coach when the roster, when the talent, when he has talent to work with. Okay, and honestly, I think that we saw that this organization. I feel like it's more of an organization thing than him. First of all, I don't believe Trevor Lawrence is their guy. They do. I don't. Me personally, I don't think he's gonna help you win when it matters. Okay. And then on top of that, some of the decisions they've made, like when they had the number one pick and they didn't draft Aiden Hutchinson. To me, that could have been a big difference right now for your team. You see what Aiden Hutchinson is doing in Detroit. So if I'm being completely honest, I don't see if our quarterback isn't where we thought he was, am I going to sit here and punish my coach? Basically, he's the scapegoat for why they're bad this season. That's what it is. I don't see why he's honestly getting fired. I really don't. Yeah, he had a bad season, so what? You go, you rebuild, you pick back up. Like, I'm not understanding, like, head coaches are just coming and going like that. And it's not making sense to me because not everybody has a team that's ready to win. Sometimes you're going to have a bad season. That's okay. Everybody can't. There's one Super Bowl winner every year. So mind you, if you made it to the playoffs, yes, that's great. Of course, you want to make it to the playoffs. You can say you made it to the playoffs over the teams that didn't. If you make it to the AFC or NFC Championship, you made it and other teams didn't. If you made it to the Super Bowl, you made it and the 30 other teams didn't make it. It's just you and the other team that you're playing. But outside of that, guess what? You're not the Super Bowl winner. One team walked away with the title of Super Bowl winner for that season. So in the off season, we reset and we get the team better and we try to go somewhere. I think that coaches, they're not getting enough time. They're not getting enough time because to me, coaching is deeper than just X's and O's sometimes. Sometimes coaching is about the culture that you're going to build. And I can't build a culture in a season and a couple games. Isn't that what Antonio Pierce said? A season and a couple games? I can't get what I want to get out of my players because I haven't been there long enough to establish the culture that I want to establish. Like Mike Tomlin, for example, he's established the culture of what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be. When you get here, when a new player comes over here, Deshaun Elliott, Patrick Quinn, whoever you are, you're buying into us, to what we're going to be. We're not changing for you. It's either you're going to come in here, you're going to adapt to what we want you to be like and how we want you to get things done, or you can kick rocks. But these other coaches, they don't have time to build that, and they're not building that. They're not building chemistry with their players. It's honestly getting ridiculous. I feel like they're getting trigger happy. Like they're so antsy to win. But if your organization is not ready to win, you're not ready to win. Okay, I talked about Antonio Pierce. Why on God's green earth was this man fired? What do you want him to? Your starting quarterback for the year was Gardner Minshew. You went and used your first round pick, drafted Brock Bowers, this man Gardner Minshew, and said, go win games. Gardner Minshew, we talked about this before the season started. I thought the Raiders were going to be better than what they were this season. Because I, for one, thought that Antonio Pierce would have the defense a little bit better than what it was. But you can't coach what you don't have. Okay? His defense was not good, and it's not his fault. Outside of Max Crosby, nobody else is out there making plays. Like you said, we can only name one person in the secondary, and he was a part of the problem. So For the fact that he didn't have the talent that I thought he would have on the defensive side, and now we have Gardner Minshew. We're saying go win football games, and y'all are mad when they're not winning football games. I'm not understanding. Midway through the season, you traded your best weapon outside of Brock Bowers. Now you have a rookie leading your team in receiving, but you want to win football games. A rookie tight end at that. Not a rookie wide receiver. This isn't Malik Neighbors. This is Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia. And he is your best player. Arguably, we can say he's the best player on the team this year. And that's embarrassing.
Literally.
Literally. So the fact that, and mind you, we saw him go toe to toe with the Chiefs. We saw him beat the Ravens early on. People might say, oh, that was what, like week 2, week 3. That's a fluke. It doesn't matter. But you saw that he can get the job done. So they pull the trigger, like I said, you're pulling the trigger way too fast when your team's not ready. I feel like the only time that a head coach should be fired is, okay, Chicago, for instance. You just sold the game and like you haven't been helping the team win, so we're gonna let you go. Okay. But other than that, if my team's not, I feel like I should start getting judged when my team is ready to win football games. Then it's a matter of, okay, am I winning football games or not? Now going on to Gerard Mayo, that's just, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I think like listening and like listening around the league and listening to reporters and stuff like that, I think that this is just a case of that was Bill's guy. That's the guy that Bill anointed to be his to take over for him. And he took over. I think that they just maybe management didn't want him from the jump. But Bill stuck his neck out for him, signed off on it before he left. And that's why Gerard Mayo was the head coach. Because honestly, I didn't understand the hiring in the first place. I really didn't. I understand where they were going with that. You know, that was uncharacteristic of the Patriots. It's like he didn't fit the whole entire standard of the Patriots. You might say the whole prototype of what we think that they're like. It didn't fit it. So the fact that they hired him was surprising to me. But once again, you knew your team wasn't ready. He told y'all that the team wasn't ready when he didn't start the season off with Drake May. Your first round pick and he doesn't start him. That should tell you something. He literally said the O line is not ready. I'm gonna get my quarterback killed if I start him. Went out there and he eventually put him in because we got to put him in eventually. Put him in and he started looking good, looking promising. There's players on the defense out there balling, but it's they don't have all the pieces yet. They don't. And if he did get fired because they won the football game and lost the number 1 pick, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And we're gonna look back and say it is a doggone shame what they did to Gerard Mayo. You punished. I've never seen a coach get punished for winning a football game ever in my life. When, mind you, what pick are they gonna end up having?
I think it's still top 5.
Still top 5.
Yeah, I can double check for you, but it should be still top 5.
If it's let's say they have the 4th pick right now. Depending on the teams ahead of you, you don't need a quarterback. You have your quarterback. So hopefully the 2 teams ahead of you need a quarterback. Cam Ward, Shador will be gone, and you will have the best player available now in the draft.
4th pick.
They have the 4th pick, and who's ahead of them?
Tennessee, Cleveland Giants.
Tennessee, Cleveland Giants. These are all teams that need a quarterback, but one of these teams will not select the quarterback. Mind you, they don't need Travis Hunter. You need if Travis Hunter's going to come play full-time receiver, okay. Because they need a receiver. But outside of that, you don't need Travis Hunter. You can honestly go out there and get the next best thing out there. I'm a fan of Abdul Carter out of Penn State. He's going to be a game wrecker in the NFL. So you still have a good pick. So I'm not understanding. I don't get that one. Like I said, I think maybe that was Bill's guy and they never signed off on it. And the first chance they got to get rid of him, oh, you lost us the number 1 pick. You're gone. So, yeah, man, I don't see why any of these 3 coaches got fired when their teams aren't ready. So that's all I can say about that.
All right, so it's my turn. I'm not going to talk about Doug Peterson because I think that situation is simple. Doug is the scapegoat. You just gave Trevor Lawrence all that money. You can't get rid of Trevor Lawrence, right? So you got to get rid of Doug. When I don't think it's Doug's fault. When Doug got there after Urban Meyer got fired, they was a playoff team. Then last year they made make the playoffs. This year they made the playoffs. So I think that the team just regressed. It wasn't Doug's fault. I think Trevor Lawrence just not that guy. Simple as that. But they paid him, so you can't do nothing to Doug. Well, you can't do nothing to Trevor. You got to keep Doug. I mean, get rid of Doug. Sorry, that's cool. Even with the Patriots situation, the only way Robert Kraft can make this right and make me forget to see if this ever happened is if you hire Mike Vrabel. That's it. Mike Vrabel played for Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Right, he's a really good head coach. You saw what he did in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill. To me, Drake May is already better than Ryan Tannehill. So you have a better quarterback now. Get Mike Vrabel, and I'll kind of forget this ever happened. But it's still unfair what happens to Gerard Mayo. Robert Kraft even came out and said that he needed more time before he got the job. Then why you hire him? It's simple as that. That can be Bill's next guy. That's cool, but you're the owner. You oversee what happens, right? So I don't want to. That's not fair. And it's not cool what happens to Gerard. But I want to focus mainly on Antonio Pierce. That's what I want to focus on. Going into the season, everybody's goal should not be to go to the Super Bowl. It should not be. If it is, then you're stupid. Because you and me can sit up here clear as day, and we knew going into the season the Raiders were not competing for the playoffs. Well, you thought it was going to be good, compete, right? Not necessarily in the playoffs. We thought it was going to be good. I thought it was not going to be good at all. You and me can see that. We just two regular dailies doing a podcast, right? So I know the owner that knows football, the GM that knows football, they know they wasn't going nowhere this year. So why you fire a man when it's not his fault that the team is bad? The team is just bad. You signed Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is a bridge quarterback. You and me know that. You get Gardner Minshew whenever you have a really good team, right? You just need a little quick answer at quarterback, right? You don't have a high enough draft pick to get a quarterback. There's no really good quarterbacks available, so he's a bridge, right? He's gonna be here for a couple of years, then we're gonna find our guy. Or he's gonna be here a couple of years, then we're gonna sign our guy. Gardner Minshew is not a franchise guy. They brought Gardner Minshew in like he was the answer to all our problems, and what happened? He looked bad. He got benched.
He
And
got
he got
benched.
hurt. And he came back and got hurt. And then he was dealing with Aiden O'Connell. He was dealing with Desmond Ritter. Like, you want Antonio Pierce to win with these guys? That's just not fair. And then on top of all of that, didn't Max Crosby want Antonio Pierce to be the head coach last year? Because he was the interim last year. And he wanted him. He said, look, if Antonio Pierce is not the head coach, I'm gonna have a problem with this. The Raiders said, you know what, we get Antonio Pierce to make our best player happy. Well, I wonder what Max Crosby's thinking right now. You gave this man one full season with a bunch of trash and expected him to turn water into wine. Antonio Pierce is not Jesus. We all know this. All right, so that's not going to happen. But my whole thing with being coaches being fired, to make this a long thing short, there's two prime examples of why coaches should be fired, and it happened over the past couple of years. Josh McDaniels and Brandon Staley. Josh McDaniels, the team did not want to play for him no more. The team was turning on him. He lost the locker room. And when he got there, the expectations was high because they had a good squad. They actually had a good squad. Remember, they had Devontae Adams, Darren
Derek
Waller,
Carr.
Hunter Renfrow, Derek Carr. They had a good squad. But when he got there, nothing happened. So he did make the team better, and then the players started turning on him, so you get rid of him. That's a great job getting rid of him. With Brandon Staley with the Chargers, we saw him in games making decisions that made them lose. We saw him going for it on fourth down. We saw him blow that big lead against Jacksonville in the playoffs, right? He gave us evidence that he is not helping his team win. His decisions are helping his team lose. So they got rid of him. To me, those are two great examples of firing coaches. Why are you firing Antonio Pierce? Because he had a bad record with a bad team? Make that make sense. Why you fired Gerard Mayo? Like I said, if you hire Mike Vrabel, I'll give you a pass. But you fired Gerard Mayo having a bad record with a bad team. You fired Doug Peterson because he's a scapegoat. Trevor Lawrence, you just gave him all that money. You can't get rid of Trevor Lawrence. You got to get rid of the next man, and that's Doug Peterson. So all three of these coaches unfairly got fired. Neither one of them deserved to be fired. But if I had to rank them in order from reasonable to not reasonable at all, it would be Doug, Gerard, and then Antonio Pierce. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to Bess playoff tiers. All right. Look, it's playoff time. All right. It is wild card weekend coming up this weekend. So I hope y'all got y'all popcorn out and I hope y'all are ready to go. But before the playoffs start, I'm gonna give y'all my playoff tiers going into the playoffs. All right. So this is going into the playoffs. All right. So first up, now I'm going from bottom to top. Right. The bottom tier is participation award, featuring the Broncos and the Commanders. Nobody, I repeat, nobody thought these two teams would be in the playoffs. Not a single soul. Both of these teams drafted a rookie quarterback, right? And we all questioned, first of all, we didn't think they would be who they are right now. We thought Bo Nix was NFL ready, but we didn't think he was going to be like this, right? So he can lead his teams to the playoffs. Jaden Daniels, we had questions about him, which means we did not think that he can lead his team to the playoffs. All right, both of these teams, the weapons around these quarterbacks, to me, aren't, hey, I'm not that impressed. Terry McLaurin is a great receiver. Don't get twisted. But outside of him, who they have? Nobody. So how they winning games? I don't know. Defensively, I can't really name that many stars over there. But great job, Dan Quinn. And then with the Broncos, you have a great defense led by Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator. Right. And then you have a good offensive play caller in Sean Payton with Cortland Sutton at receiver. So Sean Payton and Dan Quinn to me should be up for coaches of the year. It should be those two. Hands down, no questions asked. So participation award, because y'all not supposed to be here, but y'all are here. All right. Next, limping in, Steelers Texans. I'm a realist, y'all. I'm not gonna sit up here and sell wolf tickets,
Crawling.
right? I'm being real, right? Both of these teams are limping into the playoffs. One physically, one emotionally and mentally. All right, the Texans are limping in physically. They're literally hurt, right? Stephon Diggs gone. Tank Dell gone. Jalen Petrie gone. Right? They're losing their players. They don't have a good enough team right now because of injuries. They don't. The reason why we thought this team's gonna be good this year, those reasons are out the door because of the injuries. Right? And then the Steelers, you lost 4 straight going into the playoffs. So y'all Skip Bayless. One of the best things I ever heard him say on TV is you want to streak into the playoffs. Right? You want to win games going into the playoffs. You want to get hot going into the playoffs. The whole entire year is a roller coaster. What happened to the Eagles? We saw them come out slow, right? Then they got hot. Right? Teams don't always just stay good the whole entire year. What happened to the Chiefs? The Chiefs was winning close games, right? It was looking sketchy. They finished the season strong, right? Minus that what happened on that last game of the season. That don't count. Right? They finished strong. So teams are going to look good and then look bad. Look bad and look good. It happens a long season. But the Steelers, we peaked way too early. And now going downhill. All right. Next, law of gravity, the Vikings. What's the law of gravity? What goes up must come down. I'm ready. I'm ready for Sam Darnold to fall apart. I'm ready. And we got a glimpse of it last week against the Lions. Some people call me a hater, sure. But this is my reputation. This is my credibility. All right. I say I do not believe in this team because of Sam Darnold. Even when they was winning all them games, I say I don't believe in this team because of Sam Darnold. I still do not believe in this team because of Sam Darnold. The lights are the brightest. You're going against who I believe is the second best quarterback and head coach duo in all of football in the first round on the road. Good luck with that. Pumpkin alert, Sam Darnold. Bye bye. What our boy Sam Mufasa? Bye bye. Okay. All right. Next, we got don't sleep on them tier. All right. We got the Bucks and the Chargers. These are two teams that have Cinderella run feel. They can. I'm not saying they will, but they can. They both have very winnable round one matchups. So both of these two teams to me are guaranteed to get to the second round. All right. The Bucks play the Commanders. I do not see the Commanders winning a playoff game. Just don't see it happening. All right. Then the Chargers play the injury bound Texans. So both of these teams, to me, should win round one easily. So they have that Cinderella one because that's what they can win round one, and then they can get an upset in round two. You never know how the ball gonna bounce. They think they in the championship game. Not saying it's gonna happen, but there's potential there, right? So do not sleep on these teams. Next, we got scary teams. All right, the Rams and the Packers. Look, the Packers, we saw what happened last year when they got to the play. We saw Jordan Love elevate his game. Will it happen again? I don't know. But if it does happen, they're a scary team. All right, also led by Matt LaFleur, who I think is a great play caller. And then you have Josh Jacobs this year, who can lean on a little heavier than Aaron Jones. All right, next you got the Rams. Like I said, second best head coach quarterback duo. This is the scariest. I do not want to play the Rams. Hands down, no questions there. This team, it wouldn't be a Cinderella run to me because I think they're that good. They can make it all the way. I do believe, I have confidence they can make it all the way. This team is scary. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, you know the deal. All right. Next, question marks. These teams, a lot of people think that they're the favorites in the playoffs, right? The Lions and the Ravens. But I have question marks. I have questions. All right, with the Lions, Dan Campbell scares me. To me, he's too aggressive. What happened last year against the 49ers? He got too aggressive. He got too cute. And what happened? They lost the game. I don't trust you until I see you get it done. All right. In Baltimore, Lamar, we know what happens in the playoffs with him. Whether it's in the first round, second round, the championship round, we seen him fold. We just seen it happened. Right. So until it stops happening, I have questions. So with these two teams, I have questions with their head coach and then one team with the quarterback. All right. Next, save us, please. Save us tier. Eagles, Bills. These two teams have the potential to knock off the reigning, defending Super Bowl champs. They can end this whole three-peat mess and they can save us all. Because if Mahomes win, I will not hear the end of it. So I'm begging you, Eagles, Bills, somebody get the job done and get this team out of the playoffs. All right, respectfully. Then, until further notice, I'm a realist. This team at the top. Until somebody knocks them out the playoffs, which we have not seen over the past 3 years. We ain't seen it. So guess what? It has to happen. Until then, they're at the top of the tiers. All right, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. Those three are scary. Three-headed monster. Can somebody get it done? Bills, Eagles, please. And then, of course, my favorite, Rams. Those three teams to me have the best chances of knocking this team off and ending their three-peat. All right. So, Jared, reaction to my tiers.
I don't think you did pretty. I always give you credit when you deserve it.
Thank
Older
you.
brother,
I
you
appreciate it.
did
I
pretty
appreciate
good.
it.
You know what you're talking about. But
I knew that was coming.
there are some problems. I have two problems with this tier list. Keep it short and sweet, but I have two problems. The Lions. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Now whenever you first, because mind you, he showed me the tiers before we started the show, and I was like, "Why the Lions? I'm not understanding." Like you've always had a problem with the Lions, and you said Dan Campbell. I'll give you that. I understand. Like you said, last season we saw what he did last season, and it just he should have kicked the field goal, went downhill from that. 49ers came back up and win. But I just like this team. I really do. And I think that what we saw from the Vikings win, that's momentum. Like my biggest question with this team was their defense. We saw that shootout with the Bills when Josh Allen beat them. They couldn't stop nobody. Now you come in, you got red hot Sam Darnold, and you got Justin Jefferson, and now we got people questioning is Sam Darnold showing his true colors, and Justin Jefferson was nowhere to be found. Jordan Addison was on locks. So, like, that defense was able to step up big time, and that's a pretty good offense. This is an offense that we've seen put up a lot of points on different teams. So, I honestly do think that the Detroit Lions, they will be in that NFC Championship game. It'll be them and the Eagles, and it's gonna be a close one. I think it's gonna be closer than you think. I honestly do. I have faith in them. Like I would say if you made me choose between the Eagles or the Lions, I don't know, man. That's hard. That's hard.
I don't think it's that
That,
hard, brother.
that's hard. We're going when we get to that point because that will be the matchup. I will tell you my pick then, but I do think that the way the defense stepped up and how explosive the offense is, we saw Jahmyr Gibbs go insane.
Yep.
Insane. We saw what you have been saying. You basically been saying he's kind of being held back by that 1-2 punch that they have. We're starting to see his full potential.
Yep.
And if we see this throughout the playoffs, a team with a run game in the playoffs is scary. It's very scary because they get to control the clock and they get to just manipulate the defense however they want to. Having a strong run game with the offensive play call that they have, we've seen them go deep in their bag of tricks. So they're going to be able to use the run game and use play action and do all that. I think that their offense is so explosive, and we're going to continue to see that in the playoffs. So that's one problem I have. The second problem that I have, you said the Packers are a scary team. The Packers are I want to say they're not as bad as us, but they're kind of like us. Okay. In the last 2 weeks of the season, we saw them lose to the Vikings and the Bears. Okay, the loss to the Vikings. The scoreboard doesn't tell you what we saw. We saw that offense struggle the entire game.
Yeah, they tried to come back. Yeah.
The whole game they struggled, and they had to rely on late touchdowns and what we like to call garbage time points. And mind you, I know Jordan Love was my fantasy quarterback. I know. In the championship round, both weeks, he put up terrible performances. He was almost the reason why I lost, okay? So they didn't look good against the Vikings, who, mind you, the Vikings got exposed the very next week by the Lions. And then you go and you play the Bears and you lose the game. Mind you, Jordan Love got hurt, but that's, it's. I don't think that they're going into the playoffs as confident as they were. And mind you, they have to play the Philadelphia Eagles. They are guaranteed first round exits. Guaranteed. I promise you, they are first round exits. I'm not talking about who got the button, but guaranteed. They You're on a 2-game losing streak. Your team's looking shaky. Okay, you named all the weapons they got and the head coach they got and the quarterback. Well, I haven't seen it the past 2 weeks. I haven't seen it. Mind you, recently to close out the season, they beat up on the bad Saints. Like, I'm not convinced by this team. I'm really not. And the fact that you put them in scary teams with your guy, the Rams,
Mm-hmm.
that's a little. I have a problem with that one. But what I do like about this is, you kept it real. You kept it real. We're on the limping end. We are limping. Okay, you kept it real. I appreciate that. My brother does a good job of keeping things real. He doesn't. I think that for the most part, he doesn't let his emotions and his ties really sway his opinions and sway what he has to say. But the biggest thing that I like is until further notice. Because until further notice, look here, y'all. I'm gonna say this right now. Okay, I know that him and Tyrell, they tell y'all what they try to, nudge y'all into what y'all need to bet on and what y'all need to do with this and your picks and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I told this man for the past 2 years, don't bet against 15. We used to say don't bet against 12. Now we say don't bet against 15. Okay, I'm telling y'all right now, if you're watching the podcast and you make a bet and you do anything, I don't care if you make a $5 bet with your neighbor. I don't care if you're putting in a big parlay or you're cashing in on your Super Bowl winner. Do not bet against 15. It's that simple. So yeah, man, good job on the tiers as always.
All right, let's go ahead and let's wrap this thing up with Jerricks picks for Wild Card Weekend. All right, don't forget me and Tyrell will be doing our playoff picks and our playoff bets on Friday. All right, so make sure y'all tune in on Friday to see that. But right now, we're about to get Jerry picks. All right, so Wild Card Weekend begins in Houston at 3:30 with the Chargers at the Texans. Jerry, who you got?
I got the Chargers winning that game. I think that like you said, in your playoff tiers, the Texans are limping in, and it's out of their control. I mean, they're injured. I've talked to a couple of Texans fans back when we were supposed to be playing them. If we would have got the 5th seed, and they were like, congratulations on the win. You can go get to see them in person, and they're doing the talk because they know what's up. Like, one of their best players on their defense is hurt. 2 main receivers. Like, I don't think that they have enough. Plus, with the way CJ Stroud has played this season, he hasn't played bad, but he's in a little bit of a, sophomore decline, okay? And that's okay, though, So I do think that the Chargers, they're just, they're kind of on a roll. And I think that because of the injuries and everything, they're not fully healthy. And the Chargers are a pretty good team right now. I do have the Chargers winning that matchup.
All right, next Saturday night, prime time at 7 o'clock. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers at Baltimore. Going to the bank against the Ravens. Jerrick, who you got?
I don't I don't like that you did this to me. I really don't. I feel like this is a setup.
I gotta do it too.
Because I like to be real. Like, I don't want to, I like to be real. And so let me put it this way, okay? If I had to put money on the game, I would bet on the Ravens. But my heart is telling me Steelers. But if I had to put money on it, I would pick the Ravens. Okay? I just think that over the course of these past 4 weeks, we've looked bad, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's no way around it. Yes, we've had injuries, and yes, we talked about all that. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, it's looked bad, okay? On the other side of that, against the Bengals, a desperate Bengals team, our defense looked pretty good. Okay. Our defense looked pretty good. And they were able, although they got down the field, they were able to hold them to field goals, able to, turn the ball over, able to do things to put us in a position to win the game. Okay. But if our offense can't get anything going, can't, and I'll tell you what our key to win the game is. We have to control the game. We have to force the Ravens to take the ball out of Derrick Henry's hands. How do we do that? By getting a lead early. Okay. I don't think that John is that good of a coach. I really don't. I think that Mike Tomlin gets the best of him every time that we play. And that is why one of the big reasons why we do win all the time against the Ravens is because we outcoach them. And I think that when he sees that score, when he looks at that scoreboard and they're down and the time starts to tick, he abandons the run game. We saw that in the first game. He abandoned the run game. He said, Lamar, go win the game for me. Lamar couldn't win the game for him. Okay. So I think that if I'm just being real. I'm calling a spade. That's what happened. So that is our key to winning this game. Now trust me, I believe that we can win this game. I really do. I'll be rooting my tail off. I think that we can go and pull it off as a division matchup. It can go either way. I think that we have a strong chance if we do, like I said, what we said. If our big playmakers step up, TJ Watt, I haven't heard your name in the past couple weeks. George Pickens, you just had a bad game. Hopefully, we're gonna bounce back. So but with all that being said, no matter how hard I will be cheering, no matter where my heart is, for legitimate credibility purposes, I'm picking the Ravens.
Oh, you're a sellout.
See.
Oh,
I told you.
you're
I
a
told you it's a setup.
sellout.
I told you it's a setup. There was no way I could win that situation. Everybody else is gonna say, you're showing favoritism. Because literally, I gave every single reason why you would want to pick the Ravens. So, like I said, for credibility reasons, I have to pick the Ravens. But like I said, when the Steelers win, and I come on this podcast and I'm going on and on about it, I don't want to hear anybody be like, "But you just pick the Ravens." I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that from you either.
You're gonna be in timeout. That's what you're gonna be. I'm gonna put you in timeout. And
You
I'm
got to
I'm
put me
gonna
in
talk
timeout
trash.
then. Because I'm looking, man, I'm trying to keep it real. But like I said, my whole heart is wanting us to win. And it's saying that we're going to win. My whole heart. But this mind, this brain up here, thinks it's a little shaky.
All right, moving on to Sunday at 12 o'clock. We got the Broncos, the sneaky Broncos that got into the playoffs. Nobody saw it coming. And once again, I love seeing teams like that that defeat all the odds and they get into the playoffs. All right, Broncos they head to Buffalo though, so this little Cinderella run might be it might be over with come Sunday. All right, so
Um,
Broncos Bills, who you got?
I'm picking the Bills. Okay, I'm picking the MVP of the league. But I'm not gonna close the door on like if the Broncos win, I'm gonna tell you I'm not that shocked because the Broncos have a great defense. Their defense is nice. Patrick Surtain is nice. Okay, their head coach is nice. If Bo Nix doesn't freeze up and doesn't let the moment and the crowd and the game and the fact that if he doesn't try to think that he has to outplay Josh Allen, if he doesn't let that get to him, like I think it got to him when they played the Ravens early in the season and we thought that they were going to beat the Ravens. If he doesn't let the moment get to him, I think that he can have a good game. And I think that if their defense can play like they've been playing and be great, we can see them with a chance to win the football game at the end.
All right, so the spread is minus 8.5. You would take that?
I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't touch that game. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't touch
All right,
that
so
game. If you're making a parlay, just take the money line and put Bills. I'm not gonna lie. Like I
but you
gave you, I
wouldn't be
gave you, I
shocked if
gave
the
you.
Broncos win.
Hmm.
But you wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos
I
win.
would not. I really wouldn't. Like I would not be shocked. I've seen this happen before, but I don't think it's gonna happen. What Mike Tomlin say? Never say never, but never. Yes, I got the Bills.
All right, and next at 3:30, mind you, triple header on Sunday, y'all. So make sure y'all ready for that. At 3:30, we got the Packers flying down to Philly. All right, fly Eagles, fly Jerry. Who you got?
I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Short and sweet. The Packers aren't that good. Call it how it is. Like I said earlier, I'm not believing the Packers from what I've seen. I last year, if you asked me this question, it'd be completely different because I had all the faith and confidence in the world in Jordan Love last year. I don't this year. Simple as that. And I think that the Eagles defense is going to get to them and they're going to rattle them, and it, it's going to be a problem. And then their defense is not going to be able to stop the Eagles offense. Now, I've heard from you that Jalen Hurts is questionable. He's still in protocol. But even if they don't have Jalen Hurts, they're going to win this football game. Okay, it is not a problem. Yeah, there's no second thought about this game. Jalen Hurts, no Jalen Hurts, don't matter. I got the Eagles.
All right. All right, 7 o'clock. We got the Commanders and the Bucks. The Commanders flying down to Tampa. Who you got?
I got the Buccaneers. I think it's a thing about experience. Okay, we saw the Bucks beat the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Now, mind you, the Philadelphia Eagles were shaky last year, but that's a big thing. Like to beat a team like that, that's still big, no matter how bad they're playing. So the fact that Baker Mayfield, he's been there, he has a little bit of he has a taste for winning in the playoffs. And mind you, last year they also had a tight and close game with the Lions in the very next round. So from what I've seen in the playoffs last year and what I've seen this season, I think that Baker Mayfield is he's gonna take care of business. I think that Jaden Daniels, he's just not ready for the moment. Now, mind you, he shocked me this whole entire season. I didn't think he was ready at this level. I thought it would take a little bit of time for him to make this leap, but he made it year one. But I think that that good story is gonna come to an end, and I think that the experience is key in this game, and so the Bucks will win.
All right. Then Monday night to wrap up wild card weekend, we got the Vikings and the Rams at 7 o'clock. Sam Darnold's under the spotlight. Let's see what happens. Jerry, who you got?
This is tough. This is really tough. Okay,
Really?
this is a really tough one. Mind you, they're like it's a really tough one. Is this not? You think that this game is so simple? It's like we saw Sam Darnold do this one time. We saw him fold like that one time. Okay, mind you, like I said, I saw Justin Jefferson getting locked up out there, kind of got locked up.
Was that question? Was that a playoff game? Yes or no?
Yes,
So it
100% yes.
hot face.
But he was playing the Detroit Lions. Now he's playing the Rams. I've gone on record plenty of times. The Rams defense is not good.
And good enough.
No, they're not.
So pick Sam Darnold in the
They're not good. You know what? I'm picking Sam Darnold. I'm picking Sam Darnold in the Minnesota Vikings. I'm gonna do it. That's right. I'm doing it. I'm picking them. Next week we will see a rematch of the Detroit Lions. And I'm like, yeah, you got me. You baited me. Yeah, you baited me. But whenever we come back on this podcast next week, same time next week, and you're facing, you're down in the dumps because your team, your pick, the guys that you wanted to go all the way, and you said that they have the potential to go all the way. The second best quarterback head coach duo, when they're sitting on the couch at the end of the game in the locker room, when they're saying Cancun on 3, then we'll see. Then we'll see what you guys say about it. I'm picking the Vikings. Justin Jefferson is going to have himself a field day with that secondary. He's going to pick them apart, and if it's not him, it's Jordan Addison. That Vikings defense, they can hold up enough. They can hold up enough. We will. I have a feeling that we will be seeing a iconic celebration in the end zone with that defense of the Vikings. I'm picking the Vikings.
Okay. All right. That is Jerry's picks, and that is also it for today on the Straight to the Point podcast. All right. But y'all see me and Tyrell on Friday to give my picks and his picks for Wild Card Weekend. Also our bets heading into Wild Card Weekend. Guys, it's that time of the year. All right. But that is it from your boy J Bess and your boy Jerrick. Much love. Y'all stay blessed. We out.